New hyper-aggressive Janna build. Meh. New Chinese hyper-aggressive Janna build. Oh. I saw a thread on r/Janna mains that was looking for high ELO Korean/Chinese Janna OTPs, and there was one comment that mentioned Mujin, who plays Comet Janna. I looked them up and found this video that was posted in early July of this year. It's a 14-minute VOD of them popping off, but I'll summarize what Mujin does. They go Comet, Mana Flow Band, Celerity, Scorch, Zombie Ward, and Relentless Hunter with double adaptive and armor. Mujin puts 3 points into W before maxing E and goes Everfrost, Medjayas into Stopwatch in this VOD. It's a pretty Chad Janna playstyle because they play her to smash lane instead of the traditional way of neutralizing the lane and scaling. In lane, Mujin always looks for aggressive tornadoes, which is interesting because in the matchup against Thresh, I would be holding Tornado for when he walks up. They like to sit in bushes and fish for fully charged nados onto the enemy. As Janna, if you charge a tornado in bush out of vision, the enemy will not be able to see the windup. But if you are seen when the tornado is being cast, it will show. They utilize this very well and times tornadoes to be full when the enemy AD carry walks up to last hit minions. You can see here when Varus walks up to farm this minion, Mujin hits him with a tornado. Mujin will aggressively play for bushes to abuse this all game, which is why they take Sweeper level 1. Here Mujin contests the ward in the bush and takes an all in. They trade 1 for 1, but it's winning for Janna Kaisa because the ADC got the kill. Mujin's game plan is proactive in that they will constantly look for fully charged tornadoes. In lane, it's never used to stop the enemy from walking forward and used for harass or trades. This was a crazy read. Mujin throws out a nado in vision to bait Thresh into thinking they were throwing it into the bush, but reads the dodge from Thresh down. An interesting thing that I've noticed is that Mujin will never open a trade with W. It's only after they land a Q or when the enemy is walking up to them, they will use it. To excel at this playstyle, you need to be creative with the angles you throw Q and good at reading the enemy's movement. Janna's Q is actually really broken in that when it's fully charged, it's hard to dodge, knocks up for a very long time, and has a lot of range. I play a lot of Janna, and it's actually really surprising how much kill pressure there is with this loadout. Once you get ahead in lane, you snowball like crazy, and the 3 points in W feels amazing. Not only do you do damage, but you also fly across the map really fast. The extra points in W gives you more movement speed, and with your runes and items, you are zooming. Celerity gives you extra movement speed from her passive if you are facing an ally, W if it's up, Relentless Hunter, and potentially Medjayas if you have at least 10 stacks. Outside of lane, Mujin plays a pretty standard Janna. I think the most important thing is that they still look for Qs to engage on the enemy in fog. This VOD ends shortly after, but I was curious to see if Mujin runs this every time. There's not a lot of recent VODs of them on YouTube, so I dug around and found their channel on Huya, which is a Chinese streaming website. Mujin does not go this build every time, so I went ahead and tested it myself to see how it was and when it would be best. I picked it every game in Master/Grandmaster to research and develop the Mujin tech and found that it's best to play it when you have a matchup that's either even or winning. It's really hard to play against an all-in heavy matchup when you have a weak AD carry. Even if you can poke down the enemy, they can just all-in burst either one of you. Playing against heavy poke is also really hard. Poke matchups are already brutal for Janna, but it's especially bad for this build because a lot of the times you'll be sitting under tower and won't be able to utilize the bush tech. Overall, the build is lots of fun and is a refreshing way of playing Janna. It's more of a snowball build than a scaling one, so you have to hard win lane. The build feels pretty bad when you're behind, but amazing when you're ahead. Comet Janna used to be a thing before they nerfed the W range, so it's nice to see Mujin reviving this hyper-aggressive playstyle. I do think Glacial with Moonstone and Redemption is still probably a more consistent build, but there are definitely times when this build is optimal. Give it a try and let me know what you think.